Provost from Provost Park Pass, and today we're going to talk about hidden gems on Disney+. Now, the thing is, Disney Plus is amazing, and everybody's out there watching all the most popular films, right? Avengers Endgame, Thor Ragnarok. Did you know that The Mandalorian is the most popular TV show in the world right now? It's amazing, but there are some hidden gems that most people just don't even know about, or maybe they're overlooking, and today we're going to talk about those hidden gems. The number 10 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Willow, a film from 1988, directed by Ron Howard. Now, this movie is awesome. It is written by George Lucas. That's right, the guy who did Star Wars. He wrote this film. It's your typical fantasy fairy tale story. It's amazing. Willow is the title character, and he finds this little baby, and has to deliver this baby because an evil queen is going to kill the baby because of a prophecy. You know how these stories go. Fact. This is the very first movie to use morphing special effects created by Allan, Industrial Light and Magic. That's the very first movie to do this. It is great. Val Kilmer is in it, plays a really likable character. Willow was played by Warwick Davis. He was 17 years old at the time, and when George Lucas wrote this script, he specifically wrote it with Warwick Davis in mind because he met him when they were filming Return of the Jedi. Warwick Davis played Wicket. And some fun trivia about this movie is there's the baby that Willow's trying to save has hair. Now the baby really didn't have hair at the time, and the baby was twins. So what they did is they would glue this wig to the baby's head, but they couldn't use glue because the baby's skin was too delicate. So what they used, syrup. That's right, maple syrup to keep the wig in place on the baby. And I'm sure the baby smelled amazing all the time. Like, I need to have breakfast right now. As Willow leaves his village at the very beginning of the movie, his children come out and they mention him, they mention fairies, brownies, dragons, and trolls. And sure enough, Willow encounters every one of those things that his children mentioned at the very beginning of the film. That's some great foreshadowing. Number 10, Willow. The number 9 hidden gem on Disney Plus is 10 Things I Hate About You, and it is loosely based off of William Shakespeare's play, Taming of the Shrew. That's right, you want to get your kids to watch a little Shakespeare, have them watch 10 Things I Hate About You. Now, this movie is rated PG-13. It is a rom-com, so maybe this is for a little bit older kids, not necessarily for the younger kids. They probably wouldn't enjoy it nearly as much, but it is a fantastic movie. The plot of the movie is amazing. It's just right out of Taming the Shrew. So there's a boy who moves in high school named Cameron, and he finds this nice girl named Bianca, and he wants to date her, but they have a family rule. She's not allowed to date. She has an older sister named Kat, who's also a senior, and she's not allowed to date either. The father adjusts the rules. He tells Bianca if Kat goes on a date, then she can go on a date. So what happens? Cameron makes this whole elaborate ruse of getting somebody to start to date Kat so he can date Bianca. Just your typical normal rom-com. Now, Heath Ledger plays an amazing character in this movie, and he's so fun to see. This is the very first American movie that Heath Ledger ever did. Some really cool trivia about this is, during the movie, Heath Ledger sings a song, I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. Now, he was the third actor to sing that song and become a Batman villain. The first was Christopher Walken in The Deer Hunter, sings that song, I Can't Take My Eyes Off You, became Max Schreck. Michelle Pfeiffer sang I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You in The Fabulous Baker's Boys, and she became Catwoman. Heath Ledger, he sings it here in 10 Things I Hate About You and becomes the Joker. So apparently, if you want to be a Batman villain, go on film, sing that song, I Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. There's a part in the movie where Kat reads her poem, and when she reads this poem at the end, she starts to cry. That was one take, and the tears were not planned. Those were real tears coming out, and it's an amazing, powerful moment in this film. At one point in the film, Cameron says the line, I burn, I pine, I perish, and that is a direct quote from Taming of the Shrew. And that is a direct quote from Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. The number 8 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This film is so much fun. Now, I have to kind of warn you, it can be a little bit scary to little tiny children, but it is a lot of fun, particularly for older kids and family members. It's so much fun. Roger Rabbit's color model was based off the American flag. Red overalls, white body, and a blue tie. So that way the producers felt that would subliminally, people would like Roger Rabbit if they did that. His body and face was also based off of these very interesting characteristics. Roger Rabbit has more of a Warner Brothers style face with a Disney body. He's had on goofy overalls, Mickey Mouse gloves, and a Porky Pig bow tie. Judge Doom is played by Christopher Lloyd and is an amazing bad guy. Now, 2 people really wanted this role. One was John Cleese from Monty Python, and they just felt at the time that nobody would take him seriously as a sadistic villain, so he didn't get the role. And the other was Tim Curry, and when he auditioned, he freaked people out so much, they were so disturbed by his audition that they didn't want to cast him. Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out in 1988 and had a budget of $70 million, making it the most expensive film filmed in the 1980s. And it had the longest credit screen of all films in the 80s. It's like... This is the only film to date where they both have Walt Disney characters and Warner Brothers characters at the same time. Now, there was some dispute if they would allow this to happen, but Steven Spielberg pulled some strings and made this happen. The condition was, though, Warner Brothers said, hey, our main characters have to be on screen just as long as Disney's main characters. That's why you have Bugs Bunny and Mickey Mouse usually on the same time, or Porky Pig and Tinkerbell at the end, or you got Donald Duck and Daffy Duck, all about the same amount of screen time. Eddie Valiant takes Roger Rabbit at one point in the back room of a bar, and they bump the ceiling lamp, and those lamps starts to swing, making the shadows of the room change all around. Now, that lamp bump wasn't done intentionally, but the animators used that, and they made sure meticulously that all the animated shadows match the swinging of the lamp in the real world. Disney employees still use the term bump the lamp to mean, and it means to go the extra special mile, to do something cool on the film that most people wouldn't notice, and putting extra work and making it extra special. Bumping the lamp. The original choice to play Eddie Valiant was Bill Murray, but they could never ever get a hold of Bill Murray, so they just went on without it. Bill Murray, when he finally found that out, was in a restaurant reading that in a newspaper where he was supposed to be cast. He let out a scream and walked out in disgust because he said he would have taken that role no matter what. When they made this movie, they decided to break 3 cardinal animation rules. 1, they wanted to move the camera as much as possible because that way the animated characters didn't seem very flat. Number 2, they wanted the shadow and lighting to be different all over the places to make sure it looked realistic. And 3, they wanted the animated characters to interact with real world objects. They were really pushing the boundaries in this film. And it shows. The name of the title is Who Framed Roger Rabbit? And you'll notice at the end of the film there is no question mark because it's considered bad luck to have a question mark in the title, so they just left it off. This is a fun film to watch with you and your family, so sit down and watch this hidden gem. Number 8, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? The number 7 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Hercules, the animated films. And maybe I put this list because I might be a little bit biased because I think Hades is awesome. One of the best bad guys ever. Something interesting about the character Hades, when he was first written for the script, he's supposed to be this slow, menacing, very evil guy. And when James Woods came in and auditioned, he did that smooth talking like car salesman, hey, how you doing, Lord of the Dead, all that stuff. And they liked it so much they rewrote the entire script for James Wood. Megara, or Meg, as she's known in the movie, is a very complex character. At first, when you first watch her, it probably goes over most little kids. They just think she's kind of like a flighty little character. Her heart's been broken, and she has this big, huge wall up, and she's protecting her heart. And it's amazing to kind of watch that as an adult. When you watch that film, you realize what a complex character Meg is. In the movie, at one point, Hades says, relax, it's only halftime. That comes exactly at the halfway point in the movie. Disney animator Andreas Deja, I'm so sorry, I don't know how to say your last name, it's D-E-J-A, Deja maybe. Andreas Deja was a well-known animator, mostly doing villains. Andreas did Gaston in Beauty and the Beast, did Scar in The Lion King, did Jafar in Aladdin, and requested specifically to do the hero in Hercules, and Andreas was able to do Hercules. At one point in the film, the 2 little boys are underneath the rock and they call out, and you can hear them, if you listen carefully, they say, call IXII, call IXII. That's Roman numerals 1X11, meaning 911. The original offer to be the muses at the very beginning that are singing, guess who they wanted to play those muses, but they turned down the offer? The Spice Girls. Can you imagine? At one point in the movie, Phil says to Hercules, don't let your guard down because of a pair of big goo-goo eyes. Now, the original line of the script was, don't let your guard down because of a pair of big blue eyes. But when that line came out and they started recording it, they realized that all the animation was done and Meg's eyes were purple. So they had to change the line from big blue eyes to goo-goo eyes. Anyways, the number 7 underrated gem on Disney Plus is Hercules. You can watch it without one with your family. It's fun. The number 6 hidden gem on Disney Plus is the Muppet Movie, the original Muppet Movie from 1979. This was actually one of the very first things I watched when I got Disney Plus on the very first day, about 3 in the morning, because I love this movie. The Muppet Movie was released in 1979, and it was the 10th highest grossing movie of that year. It's rated G. Anybody can watch this movie. It's super fun. You can watch it as a family. There are some jokes that will go over the kids' heads, but it doesn't really matter because the kids are going to have jokes that the adults probably won't get. It's pure fun for everybody. The most difficult scene to film in this movie was when Kermit the Frog was riding his bicycle. At the end of the movie, when Animal eats Dr. Bunsen Honeydew's Instagrow pills, Jim Henson refused to have a puppet come to a miniature. They actually created a 60-foot animal head to come through this roof. giant, and I'm all real 60-foot animal head. When Fuzzy the Bear is driving a Studebaker down the road, the way they achieved that magical moment was they would have a little person in the trunk of the car with the steering wheel and a TV screen to see where he's driving. The puppeteers would lie on the floor of the car and operate the puppets. At one point, the TV screen went on the fritz and the assistant director was directing him like a little to the left, a little to the right, had no idea where he's going, but it still looks awesome. The Muppet Movie was the very first movie to ever show a full-bodied Muppet. That's right, and nobody ever seen like a puppet's body. They only saw the top of it because you're like this, never saw it. Now, there was a little bit of backlash, I love this, because Steve Martin's character makes fun of this wine that comes from Idaho, and there apparently are some wineries in Idaho, and they did not find out seeing it all funny, and they kind of try to protest the movie. The number 6 hidden gem on Disney Plus is the Muppet Movie. The number 5 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Splash with Tom Hanks, John Candy, and Daryl Hannah. And this movie is hilarious. It was filmed in 1984. The story is about a man who meets a real life mermaid, who falls in love with her, the troubles you can have if you fall in love with a mermaid. It is hilarious. It was directed by Ron Howard. I think this is the second movie he's done here on this list, which is pretty amazing. This movie is considered to be one of the 100 funniest American films of all time. Now, some other things that this movie has done for us is this movie introduced the name Madison to America, and since this movie came out, it has now become one of the most popular names in all of the world, basically. Tom Hanks is suggesting all kinds of names for the mermaid, and then he suggests Elizabeth, who is the name of his daughter, and he also suggests Samantha, which is the name of his then wife. But then he suggests Madison, and she takes the name Madison, and poof, it just explodes. So that is awesome. Thank you, Splash, for the name Madison. There's a famous scene where John Candy hits a racquetball, the ball hits the wall and hits him in the head. That was filmed in one take and one take only. The very first take, and they got it. It's still funny. When they were first designing the movie, The Little Mermaid, she was supposed to be blonde, but they decided to change her hair to red because they didn't want her to be confused with Madison from Splash, so they changed her hair to iconic red hair. And so, thanks to Splash, we've got Little Mermaid, the Ariel redhead. The beach that Tom Hanks' character Allan finds Madison on is the beach from Castaway Cay, which is a private island owned by Disney. You can go visit it on their cruise ships. In fact, watch this video right over here. You can see the Castaway Cay because that's where we were just at. Splash, the number 5 hidden gem on Disney Plus. The number 4 hidden gem on Disney Plus is 3 Men and a Baby. This film came out in 1987. This film was directed by Leonard Nimoy, who is most known for playing Spock on the Star Trek series. And he directed this very funny comedy. This film was the highest grossing film in 1987. The story is 3 bachelors are living together and a baby's dropped off the porch and they end up trying to raise this baby and they don't know who the dad is or anything like that. And it just, lots of hilarity ensues. It is really funny and yet heartwarming and touching. There's a scene in the movie where Tom Selleck's character has a big party at his house. They put a casting call out asking for 100 women to be a Tom Selleck's bachelor pad. Over 5,000 women showed up to the audition call where they only took 100 of them. In 2016, Tom Selleck was doing an interview. In an interview, he actually admits that the poster of the baby really did pee on him. The famous poster where he's holding the baby and there's a little bit of pee on his shirt. He said that really did happen. This is the number 4 hidden gem on Disney Plus, 3 Men and a Baby. The number 3 hidden gem on Disney Plus is A Goofy Movie. Now, this movie, when it first came out, wasn't that popular. It's gained some notoriety as years have gone on, and it is a classic. The Goofy Movie came out in 1995 and is rated G. I mean, this is perfect family fun if you want to watch a movie with anybody of any age. There's all kinds of jokes. It is super fun. The premise of the movie is going across country, a father and son going across country on a road trip. What is interesting about this movie is depending on the stage of life when you watch this movie, your views will change. When you're a kid, when you watch this movie, you're like, come on, Goofy, just let Max go. Just let him go have the party and have fun. And as an adult, when you watch it, you're literally like, oh, come on, Max, just spend some time with your dad. Just spend some time with your dad. It is such a well-written movie. The concept Max is trying to get to is Powerline. And Powerline is an amalgamation of 3 main characters, Bobby Brown, Prince, and Michael Jackson. Powerline's costume is a parody of a rock band called Devo. They had like a hazmat suit that they wear in the 1977s, 1978s, and Powerline's suit is kind of a parody of their suits that Devo used to wear. Donald Duck actually had a larger role in this movie that was cut out. Goofy goes up to Donald and asks him, goes, "What do you think I should do?" Donald responds incoherently. Then Goofy says, "What did you say? Is there anybody else I could talk to?" They cut that out, and I think that's too bad. That's a funny scene. Why would they cut that out? Max's friend PJ. PJ stands for Pete Jr. There are 3 hidden Mickeys in this movie. The one that everybody sees is when they're riding on the open road. You see Donald Duck and Mickey on the side of the road. There's one. The first hidden Mickey in the movie is when Max is singing to Roxanne at the school auditorium. When Max swings out to see Roxanne, if you look at the lower left-hand corner, you can see Mickey Mouse. The third time is at the Powerline concert, right as the manager gets thrown in the Diamond Vision. Look at the lower left-hand corner and you can see Mickey Mouse again in the audience of the concert. After Max gets busted, if you look in the background, you can see a cardboard cutout of Ariel. When Goofy and Max take a picture and all the bats' eyes light up and they fly out, if you look very carefully, you can see the name of the cave they're in. It's Carl's Butt Cavern. B-U-T-T, Carl's Butt Cavern. It's like Carlsbad, but yeah, it's Carl's Butt Cavern. During the open road song, if you look very carefully, you can see that Goofy's keychain is the iconic letter D. This movie is so fun. Anybody can watch it, have a good time, enjoy this movie. It's my wife's Amanda's probably one of her very favorite movies, if not her favorite movie. The number 2 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Emperor's New Groove. Now this movie, I don't even know how to talk about this movie. This is probably one of the funniest movies out there. It's so funny that it's almost not funny. I don't know if that makes sense. The jokes are just so rapid fire and coming at you so fast that you almost can't take it. It gets funnier and funnier every time you watch it. Emperor's New Groove came out in the year 2000 and is rated G. It's fun for the entire family. The premise is Cusco is the emperor and he's kind of a snotty little kid, like an 18 or 19-year-old emperor, and he's just got entitlement issues, all these things. And he ends up getting turned into a llama, and then he learns how to become a better person, a better emperor by being befriended by Pacha. In the movie, there's a scene where Patrick Warburton's character, Kronk, kidnaps Cusco, and he's like moving along and like humming his own theme song. Disney attorneys were worried that was song was he made up. They made Patrick Warburton sign over the rights of that song. Pacha's wife, Chicha, is shown as pregnant. This is the first time in a Disney animated movie they showed a person being pregnant. Pacha means earth in the Incan language. Now, it could be because Pacha is kind of round with a green tarp, or maybe it's because he's such a down-to-earth guy. The producers wanted Sting to sing the opening song for Emperor's New Groove. Now, Sting felt that he declined and says, no, you need somebody younger, somebody more hip with a younger audience. So what did the producers do? They went to Tom Jones, who was 11 years older than Sting, and he sang the song. There's a scene in the movie where a fly is getting eaten by a spider and it goes, "Help me!" That is directly lifted from a 1958 horror movie called The Fly. In that scene, there's a little fly body that has half fly, half a human body is stuck in a spider's web, and a spider's coming to eat it. And at the end of the movie, the little fly's like, "Help me!" When Tipo meets Yzma and says, "I don't think you're my great aunt," he says, "I think you're my great. He says 23 greats. Yzma is widely to be considered one of the funniest villains in all of Disney animation films. The four funniest villains in all of Disney animated films are Yzma, Hades, Prince John, and Captain Hook. At the very beginning of the movie, you'll see Teen Cusco. He's combing his hair with what? A bejeweled llama. You'll notice that when Kronk and Yzma pass, when they go through on their little cart, they pass like some animal-shaped gates. The very first animal-shaped gate they pass is a cat, and they hear a cat sound. Yzma eventually turns into a cat, and this is all a nod to the fact that she played Catwoman in the 1966 Batman TV series. Originally, this film was going to be called Kingdom of the Sun, be much more serious, and they ended up doing a whole overlift of it, turning it into Emperor's New Groove, which I absolutely love. And I think this movie is so funny. Be sure to watch it. The number 2 hidden gem on Disney Plus is Emperor's New Groove. The number 1 hidden gem on Disney Plus is The Rocketeer from 1991. Wow, this movie is so much fun. Now, when this movie first came out, it didn't do very well in theaters, but on VHS and DVD, it really took off and learned to soar. Here's the plot of Rocketeer. It's basically a guy who loves a girl who ends up getting a jetpack and can fight evil Nazis. You know, the standard. Now, Timothy Dalton, who is James Bond, at one point in the film says, "I do all my own stunts," which is kind of a nod to when he was James Bond because he did all his own stunts as James Bond. At least most of his stunts. Timothy Dalton's character, Neville Sinclair, is loosely based off early movie star named Errol Flynn, who was believed to have been a Nazi spy. What? Now keep a sharp eye out because Cliff, the pilot, he chews Beeman's gum, which is considered to be a lucky gum for pilots. In fact, Chuck Yeager in the movie In the Right Stuff, he chews Beeman's gum as well. A really interesting fact about this movie is when they were inside the Zeppelin, they created what was called a shaky cam, which is the exact opposite of a steady cam. A steady cam holds a shot perfectly still. The shaky cam would make it bounce around. That way it appeared that the Zeppelin's engines were more powerful. Now when they transferred the movie to VHS, that effect didn't work very well because it was just too small of a screen. So everybody's like, what the heck is going on? So they had to actually tone it down. But they created what was called the shaky cam for this movie. Billy Campbell at the time of his cast was kind of an unknown, and Disney really didn't want him. But the way he got the part is he went out and read the graphic novel this movie is based on, then went and got the exact same haircut as the main character in the graphic novel. And when they saw him, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the guy. And that's how he got the part. But he was not the first choice. The first choice for the role was Kevin Costner, Matthew Modine, Emilio Estevez, Bill Paxton, Dennis Quaid, Kurt Russell, and Disney's first choice, Johnny Depp. They all turned it down. Well, I think it doesn't matter because it's the perfect casting. When you listen closely to the score of the movie, a lot of people think it sounds very similar to Titanic, and it probably does because James Horner, he's the one that composed the soundtrack for both these movies. In the South Seas Club, Neville Sinclair greets Clark Gable. Now, it's a little known fact that Adolf Hitler's favorite actor was Clark Gable, and he had a sizable reward out for anybody who could capture Clark Gable and bring him back unscathed. I mean, Hitler must have really liked him. There's a scene in the movie where a plane crashes into the sign, the famous Hollywood sign. Now, the sign said Hollywood Land, and it crashes into the part of the land and knocks down the land part. When the Hollywood sign first was erected, it was called Hollywood Land to promote real estate. Then it was gifted to the city of Los Angeles in 1949, and they stipulated, hey, get rid of the land part because we wanted to celebrate Hollywood. Joe Johnston is the director of The Rocketeer, and he wasn't the original choice to be director. He came in, actually, and took over the directing duties, but people liked what he did with the show, and that's what allowed him to become the director of Captain America. Now, at what point did you notice that I actually shaved my face and my beard is gone? That's right, at some point in this video, I shaved it, and it's gone. Ha ha ha! Now, be sure to put down in comments what your favorite movies are in Disney Plus that we didn't include here that you would think are hidden little gems on Disney Plus. Let's make another list. Put them down in the comments down below. Let's see. What do you like down there? Don't forget to go ahead and subscribe and like and hit that notification bell. And if you want to support Provost Park Pass, be sure to click on Patreon. And for as little as $3 a month, you get an extra video week where you can ask Amanda and I any questions. Every Sunday night, we do a video just for our Patreon members and answer all their questions. And if we don't know the answers, we just kind of make it up.